Good morning students, myself Dr. Abha Verma. I am from Department of Microbiology, and as in the continuation of lectures about microorganisms, today we will be studying about microbiology beyond the microscope. We all are very much aware about the microorganisms, that these are very small living organisms for which we have to use a special equipment to see, that is a microscope. So let's see beyond this microscope, that except the size of these microbes, why they are important. These microorganisms are very much important in our life as well as in terms of industrial applications. So whenever we talk about microbiology, we just studied about their forms, their size, their properties, how they grow, how they reproduce. But today we will be studying about beyond these aspects, that what is the applications of microbes, the application of microbiology in our day-to-day life as well as in the industries. So if we see what is microbiology, this is the science that allows us to learn about the living organisms which are very tiny, but only these microbes, if we talk about these microbes, these are very minute, right? Very minute, that they can only be seen with the help of microscope. But this definition is something is missing in this definition. What is this missing? These requires tools and techniques required to isolate and cultivate them. Before studying the microorganisms, we need to isolate them from various sources. Like if we talk about botany, botany is a branch of science that deals with the study of plants. So if we want to study a plant, we can take a plant from a ground and we can find out with, different structures of a plant, that this is a root, this is a stem, this is a leaf, this is a flower. But in case of microbe, we cannot randomly pick any microorganism and see it with the naked eye, right? We cannot see it. So first of all, we need to learn about various tools and techniques by which we will first of all isolate these microbes from the environment and then cultivate them in our laboratory so that we can study them, right? So in microbiology, we are studying about the microorganisms which are very small. How much small? That they can be seen only by a microscope. And also we study about the tools and techniques that are required to study them, right? So if we talk about these microorganisms, there are various different type of microorganisms. Okay, now we talk about what is the actual size of these microorganisms, as this micro word means. This micro means so if we talk about the size of microorganism, the microorganism size varies and ranges from 10 nanometer to 100 micrometers. Like size of the virus is 10 to the power minus 9 meter, and the size of bacteria is 10 to the power minus 6 meter. Now microbes are very tiny particle, I know that, and I am telling you about that these are very small particles, but some of the microbes are large enough to be seen by the non-aided eye, but it's very difficult to study them. Like one of the bacteria, world's largest bacterium that is being discovered among the mangroves of Caribbean island is Thiomargarita magnifica. This organism is 500 times bigger than the average size of the microbe. So it's not like that these microbes are means all the microbes are small. If you see this agaricus mushroom, it is a microorganism. We eat it, but we can see it without any microscope. But to study its feature, to study its life cycle, to study its various aspects, we need to have microscope to study it. So this is the image showing Thiomargarita magnifica. You can see that this is a filamentous, these rods are very large enough that they can be seen by the unaided eye without the microscope. Now if we talk about the distribution of microorganisms, distribution means where they are found. They are found everywhere in all type of environment. They are omnipresent, and whatever environment you talk about, they will be present. So if we simply talk about their distribution and existence, they can be present in soil, they are present in water, may it be surface water, may it be underground water, everywhere in water they are present. They are present on the human body. Human body on the human body, it is said that one cell is at least associated with 10 to power 6 microbial cells. So our body is full of microorganisms. So if we see us as an individual in the population of microorganisms, we will find us alone. This is the microbiome of the human body. It is present in oceans. In the hydrothermal vents, there are certain microorganisms which can bear the pressure of the sea, of the ocean. They are called as barophiles. So they can be present in ocean too. They can be present in the volcanic vents. So if we see the distribution of microorganisms, they are omnipresent and are found and are present in diverse form of habitats. Now, what are the different type of microbes we are talking about? There are diverse form of microorganisms which includes viruses, archaebacteria, bacteria, fungi, algae and protozoa. In the previous lectures, you might have studied about what are these microorganisms and what are the general characteristics of these microorganisms. So we will not go into the characteristics of microorganisms, rather how they are helpful and how they are useful in our life. Now, if we talk about microbes in day-to-day life, so there are two type of applications. If we talk about application of microorganisms, application of microbes, it can be divided into two facets. One is in day-to-day life, like being a layman, how means we are not, if a person is not a student of microbiology, still our life is influenced by the presence of microbes. So how these microbes are influencing our day-to-day life, how they are present, how they influence our day-to-day life, and also the industrial application of microbes. So we will talk about the applications of microbes in two facets. The one is in day-to-day life and the other is in industrial application in industries. So let's talk first about the microbes in day-to-day life. Now you yourself think that microorganisms are bacteria, viruses, fungi, algae, and normally every one of us sometime fall sick, right? We fall ill and we are being diseased by certain organisms. बुखार हो जाता है या कुछ भी disease हो जाती है, टाइफॉइड हो गया, अभी कोरोना वायरस this COVID pandemic was there. So there are various infectious organisms which are microorganisms. So in day-to-day life we fall ill. These disease causing organisms are called as pathogens, and these pathogens influence us by causing us disease. To your surprise, among all the organisms known, all the microorganisms known, only 0.01% of them are disease causing. The rest of them are beneficial to the mankind. Now, when we fall ill by the pathogens, we take medicines, right? We take antibiotics. Now, from where these antibiotics are coming? These antibiotics are also coming from the microbes. So this is also an example of use of microorganisms in our day-to-day life. Now, other than this, a very common problem in normal people is of dandruff. There is dandruff. Most of us has dandruff, right? Now, what is this dandruff? Dandruff is caused by a fungi. Is caused by a fungi named as Malassezia furfur. The name is, this is a scientific name. I am not saying that you have to learn this name, but we should be knowing that in our day-to-day life, this common problem, that is the problem of dandruff, is caused by what? A fungi, that is Malassezia furfur. Other than this, in our day-to-day life, we eat lot of fermented foods, isn't it? So these fermented foods, some of these fermented food, if you remember, like curd, right? Like curd hai, dosa hai, idlis hai, even bread, right? If we talk about fermented foods. In day-to-day life, we used to eat certain fermented foods, including curd, cheese, fermented foods like South Indian foods like dosa, bread. All these are being fermented by the microorganisms. In curd, lactobacillus. It is a lactic acid bacteria which help in the formation of curd, that is, which help in the coagulation of milk and produce curd. In making of bread and dosas, there is a yeast named as Saccharomyces, also commonly known as baker's yeast. It is being used to ferment to raise the dough and bread is made. Other than these, there are certain other examples like when it rains. We all feel a very sweet fragrance in the environment. When it rains, there is a sweet fragrance in the environment, and this fragrance, what we call as mitti ki khushbu, right? This mitti ki khushbu after the rainfall is all due to the actinomycetes, which are the filamentous bacteria, right? These are the bacteria present in soil, and these bacteria produce actinomycin, a special type of pigment which when mixes with water, it gives a sweet fragrance. So we can see that there are different examples in our day-to-day life wherein we are using the microorganisms, but we are not aware that these are being done by microorganisms. So these microorganisms, even they are very small, but they are helping in our day-to-day life. There are various other examples too, but we are just restricting to these 2 or 3 examples. Now, the second thing that we were talking about was the application of microorganisms in the industries. So there are various fields where microorganisms are being used, and if we talk about different areas, the first area where microbes are being used is agriculture. So microorganism has a plethora of importance applications in the agriculture. We will talk about these one by one. First of all, we will see that what are the different areas, what are different branches wherein microorganisms are useful for us, right? The second is in medical and diagnostics. So microbes find its application in agriculture, in medical and diagnostics, even in food and dairy. A big industry is a food and dairy industry, wherein microbes are being used in 3 types of facets. Fine. Other than food and dairy industry, there is industrial application. There are various industries which are set up on the basis of microorganisms. Other than this, one field that is recombinant DNA technology or genetic engineering. In this field also microbes are being used. Fine. Other than this, there is another field that is environment. Microbes find its application in environment too. So if we talk about, so these are the different areas wherein microbiology find its application, that is in agriculture, in medical, in food and dairy industries, in industrial, it is having a various type of industrial application. One is in RDT and genetic engineering, and other is environmental. So these are all the branches of microbiology where they can be, where microorganisms can be utilized. So we will take these specific branches one by one. So today we will be discussing about the industrial application of the microorganism first. So let us talk about industrial application of microorganisms. We know that these microbes are living organisms, right? And the living organisms, to sustain their life, produces certain metabolites, and these metabolites are used for sustaining their individual life or utilizing the various substrate that is present in the environment. So these small factories, they can be seen as small factories, which are secreting various metabolites. That includes various metabolites that are being secreted by microbes includes enzymes, they also secrete certain organic acids, they can produce certain enzymes के अलावा organic acid और amino acids, lot of vitamins, various antimicrobial chemical substances. They can produce ethanol, they can produce certain alkaloids, they can produce certain pigments. So you can see that the microorganisms, which are very small and they cannot be seen by the naked eye, we use microscope to study them, but still they are a factory, they are producer of lot of metabolites including enzymes, organic acids, pigments, amino acids, ethanol, vitamins, antimicrobial substances, alkaloids, and all these chemicals, all these things, all these metabolites have their industrial applications. Like if we talk about enzyme, there are a plethora of enzymes. So if we talk about only enzymes that are being produced by microorganisms, there is a plethora, there is a diversity of enzymes that are being secreted by bacteria and fungi. That includes amylases, pectinases, lipases, proteases, and lot of such other enzymes. Now if we see that these enzymes, why are they important? These enzymes are being produced by the microorganism, and microorganisms are very easy to culture. In one fermenter we can produce lot number of microorganisms, and each factory is producing something. Each microorganism is producing the enzyme. So we will get these enzymes in a fermentation vessel and we can extract this enzyme. But why are we doing this? Why are we spending money to cultivate these microorganisms and then allowing them to produce certain metabolites like enzyme, and then we are harvesting it and then we are purifying it? Means lot of industrial setup is being done to produce these enzymes. Why? These enzymes are very important in industrial processes. For example, if we talk about pectinases, this enzyme, if you know this plant cells, there is a cementing material between the plant cell that is called as pectin. This pectin is a complex polysaccharide which can be cleaved with the help of this pectinase enzyme, right? But for what it is being used in industries? When we talk about the juices, fruit juices, the fruit pulp, fruit juice is this fruit is a plant, between the plant cell there is pectin, right? So you might have seen the juice which your mother give you at home. अगर हमने घर पे juice बनाया, that juice is turbid. Fine, apple juice, if we crush apple at home, we'll get a turbid juice. But if we take epiphyse from the market, then you can see that bottle is clear, right? So why this homemade juice is turbid and why this epiphyse is clear? It is all due to the application of this pectinase enzyme. This pectinase enzyme, if this juice which we are making at home is being treated with pectinase enzyme, it will cleave the cell, it will clear the pectin present between the plant cells. Now what will happen? These cells will be separated and they can be clarified from that. They can be removed from the juice and thus juices are clarified. That produces the clear epiphyse which we are drinking. So pectinase have a industrial application in clearing of juices and is being produced by the microorganisms, right? Now lipases and proteases. Lipases are the enzyme which cleave lipid, which degrade lipid, and proteases are the enzyme which cleave or degrade proteins. And lipid and protein are the two components of our food. If we see, these two are the component of our food, right? And these two enzymes find application in detergent industries. Detergent industries. So why did I tell you about that these two compounds are the component of food? Because the detergent industries claim to clear all the stains of food from your cloth. What are they having? Are they having some magic? No, they are having these lipases and proteases that are being produced by the microbes incorporated into their product, that is the surf, right? That is their powder. In that powder, these two enzymes, lipases and proteases, are being incorporated which cleave lipid and protein which are a part of food. So if there is a stain of food, oil, if we talk about oil stain, what is it? It is a lipid. If you talk about milk stain, it is having lipid as well as protein. So these stains are being cleared by these enzymes which again are produced by the microorganisms. So this is the importance of these enzymes in the industries for their application. So all these enzymes, all these products have applications. So first of all we talk about the enzymes. Pectinases, lipases, proteases, all are being produced by, if you talk about the organisms which are producing these enzymes, fungi are a very nice producer of extracellular enzymes. For example, Aspergillus niger, for example, Aspergillus niger, Aspergillus flavus, Aspergillus, other species of Aspergillus like Aspergillus fumigatus and various other bacteria and fungi are reported to produce the extracellular enzymes. So they are actually important as they are having importance in the industrial aspect. Now the second thing is, that we were studying about, other than the enzyme, the other product which is important is the organic acids. The other product that is important is our organic acids. Among the organic acids which are having applications which are very important industrially and are being produced by the microorganism includes citric acid. So these organic acids, other than these organic acid, there are various other acids also, but we are just talking about these three acids. Citric acid is being produced by Aspergillus niger. Aspergillus niger is being found to produce a good amount of the citric acid and is being used in the industrial production of citric acid. Lactic acid, it is being produced by lactic acid bacteria including lactobacillus and lactococcus. Acetic acid This acetic acid is being produced by acetic acid bacteria, and this acetic acid is present in vinegar. If you know vinegar, this vinegar is a product which is containing acetic acid. Citric acid and lactic acid are being used in the food industries as preservatives too. Preservatives, even acetic acid is also used as a preservative. So if we need to preserve some food for long time and we use these acids, then they can be used to preserve food. So they are having the industrial importance, fine. So these organic acids are having industrial importance. Again, they are being produced by the microorganism. So microorganisms have importance in the production of organic acids too. Other than this, if we talk about antimicrobial substances, we all know that there are various antibiotics which are being produced by fungi and bacteria. The third type of metabolite that is being produced by microorganisms and that are of industrial importance are antibiotics, which are being produced by certain bacteria as well as fungi, and they act, and this substance act as inhibitory substances for all other microorganisms, right. So one of the bacteria which is producing antibiotic is Streptomyces gracious. It produces streptomycin. Whereas a fungi that produce antibiotic, we all know, is Penicillium species is Notatum, which was initially used, and also Chrysogenum, Penicillium chrysogenum. So these two species produces what? Penicillin antibiotic, which is active against lot of bacteria and kill that bacteria. So these two antibiotics produced by bacteria as well as fungi are having industrial importance, fine. Other than the antibiotics, if we talk, it can be this microorganism can produce vitamins. I told you vitamins, right? For example, Streptomyces species produces vitamin B12, which can be used as a nutritional supplements and provide nutrition to those people which are deficient in vitamin B. And you might be very much aware that whenever we are having antibiotic therapy, when we are taking antibiotic to get well from any disease, then doctor also give a vitamin B complex, or they say that you have to take lactobacillus sachets so that your stomach is not upset, fine. Because these antibiotics, what do they do? When we eat these antibiotics go and kill our microflora that is present in our gut also, and the gut microflora is responsible for the absorption of all the nutrients, fine, and it helps in the production of vitamins also in the body. So when vitamin is not there, when vitamin B12 is not there, there will be no proper absorption of the food, there will be no the metabolic activity will be hindered. So we had to take vitamin B12 as a supplement, fine, and this vitamin B12 as a supplement can be taken, that is being produced by Streptomyces in form of capsules, in form of tablets. They are being commercialized by the pharmaceutical industries. Other than this vitamin, the other product is ethanol, that is being very important product of industries, and this ethanol is being produced by Saccharomyces that is a yeast, Saccharomyces, that is a yeast, and this ethanol can be used in various approaches. It can be used in various things, like ethanol can be used as a fuel, as disinfectant. One of the use of ethanol is its use as a solvent. And if you talk about beverages, alcoholic beverages, they also contain ethanol content. Like in Ghaziabad, there is a Mohan Mekkins brewery. What is it doing? It is producing various beverages, alcoholic beverages, and these alcoholic beverages are also having ethanol. So it can produce certain alcoholic. It can be present in alcoholic beverages. So if you see that this ethanol is produced by, again, a yeast, that is a Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and this ethanol can be used as fuel, disinfectant, solvent, as alcoholic beverages. So every product that is being produced by the microorganism are having an industrial application. That's why microbiology or microorganisms are important in the industries. So these are certain applications of microbiology which we are which we can be applying in the industries, because they are producing various type of metabolites that are very much helpful in the industrial applications. Now second, among these industries, one is a food and dairy industry. One industry among them is a food and dairy industry. So let's switch to another application of microorganism in one industry, that is food and dairy industry, right? Now in food and dairy industry, there are three aspects which we consider important as an application of microorganisms. The first is food spoilage, the other is food preservation, and the third is food fermentation. So if we see in food and dairy industries, there are three aspects wherein microorganisms are important for us. So let us take all these three aspects one by one. First of all, we talk about food spoilage. First of all, we will talk about food spoilage, right? In our day-to-day life also, we have seen lot of food being spoiled. If we leave a bread in our kitchen or any food article, any fruit or vegetable in our kitchen, it degrades gradually. I used to say to the students that if you will not eat the food, the microbes will eat the food, because what we like being a living organism, what we eat, they also eat. So if you will not eat, so they will degrade it. So microorganisms are helpful in the degradation or spoilage of the food. But do we want our food to be spoiled? No, we don't want our food to be spoiled. That's why lot of strategies, lot of technologies has been invented to minimize its spoilage, the spoilage of food. So the second aspect of food is food preservation, right? In food preservation also, like in previous slide, like today lecture, I have told you previously that there are certain organic acids which are being used to preserve the food. So in food industries, preservation is a very important aspect, that how this food can be preserved. And again, for the preservation of food, we are using microbial products. Fine. Then food fermentation. Today only I have told you that there are certain fermented food like curd, bread and all, right? We have studied about these. So in that food fermentation, that is fermentation, or certain microorganisms which are ready and which are able to ferment food are being used, right? For curd, lactic acid bacteria, and for bread, Saccharomyces, baker's yeast, right? So these, in the food industry also, there are various microbes which are being used potentially to means they cause spoilage of food, and they are being used to preserve food, and also for the food fermentation to produce certain fermented food products. One aspect in the food and dairy industry is also the use of probiotics, or we can say that in food industry one of the application of microorganisms is as food. Microorganisms as food. So if you talk about microorganisms as food, do you know one of the food which is a microorganism and we are eating? In this lecture only I have make you aware about mushrooms, agaricus. This mushroom is, sometimes these mushrooms are poisonous, but they are eatable mushrooms, edible mushrooms, which we are using in our diet. Now these edible mushrooms are microbes, but we are eating it as a food. Even spirulina, if you have heard about spirulina, also named as space fungi, this spirulina is a good source of protein. It is a good source of protein and can be used as source of protein, that is, it is a single cell protein and it can be used as source of protein in food as in feed, in food as well as in feed, that is, feed is the food used for animals, right. So these are two examples wherein we are using microorganism as a food. Another food which we are using, in which we are using microorganisms as a food is probiotic. I have written in the last slide probiotic. Now what are these probiotics? These probiotics are the preparations which contains microorganisms, and these preparations are taken to rectify, to improve our health, to improve our immunity. These are the probiotic. You might have studied, you might have listened the name of Yakult. Fine. Yakult is a brand which means Yakult is a probiotic brand. So it is containing bifidobacterium. This bacteria is a health promoting bacteria which is being given in form of a liquid drink, right. So microorganisms can be used as food. So in food microbiology we use four aspects wherein microorganisms are important, that they spoil food, they can be used to preserve food, right. They can be used in food fermentation to produce various fermented food products, and they can be itself used as food or probiotics. So in this lecture we have studied about three aspects, that what are microorganisms, how these microorganisms are helpful for us in day-to-day life, right. Means even we don't know, they are influencing us in various ways, right. So we have studied about the application of microbes in our day-to-day life, and then we have seen that how these microorganisms are helpful. They have application in our industrial aspect, and we have first of all studied about different branches of microbiology wherein microbes are helpful for us, and then we have studied about two branches, two fields where microbes are very important. That is, first is industrial, importance of microbes, and the importance of microbes in food and dairy. In the next lecture, in continuation of this lecture, in the next lecture we will be studying about application of microorganisms in agriculture, in environment, in agriculture, in environment, in medical or diagnostics, and in genetic engineering and RDT. So in next lecture we will be covering all these four application of microbes along with various examples where they are being used in these four fields. So this is all for today. Thank you.